We got to talk about timelines, true timelines.
Yes, so this is where I'm going to go back to the other thing. And I did this for a reason, and just skip over for no reason. The finale of Dawn of the Infinite is, and there's an I think the interlude is in here, down at the bottom here somewhere. I've just spoiled the whole thing. Is it in here? Yes, so this bit here, right? This is when Chromie destroys the Void Dragon Soul. The thing that she describes as an ancient dragon soul that was absorbing Galakron's essence. After we beat Ridicron.
A big Galakron battery.
Yep. And then, look at this. It's
Oopsies.
some horns. It's Murazond.
Nice reveal.
Very good reveal. And it goes, oh shit, we fucked up. We've made a mistake. Murazond's here, and he announces something about the end and stuff like that. And she goes, no. Not on my goddamn watch. Which is a time joke. She then goes, bam. And this is when we show up at the start of the dungeon again.
Yeah.
Which clearly we've gone back in time. But it's all infinite now. Because the infinites, etc. They've changed the true timeline, she says. So we're back at the start and we get another shot. And that's why this dungeon's really cool story-wise. Because we do the dungeon twice. It's just that there's different bosses. And different things happen. So we go back in. And then this is the point where, like, the reason we go fight Ridicron is we show up and we see Deus, and then the Proto asks back to say, there's an Earth Dragon up there doing stuff, and Kurma goes, Earth Dragon, Ridicron, go stop him. So she rewinds time and goes, another shot. We're not going to stop Ridicron this time. Or maybe not even that, maybe we're going to focus on Murazond, because I don't want Murazond to happen, because I'm Chromie and I love my aspect. I'm going to stop him from being the bad guy. I'm going to save him. So...
And maybe from her position, it's like, there's whatever a Ridicron can do, but if Murazond destroys the timeline, the whole thing's fucked.
Yeah, so like, clearly, what's the most pressing problem for her, personally, is Murazond. So we go back in and stop that. So then it's this frame. We did it. The future's occurred. We stopped Murazond. Except we made the choice to let Ridicron free, which means he got to see the thing that was destroyed. But it's not destroyed now, because we didn't destroy it.
Yes.
We went back in time and didn't do that. So it's got all of Galakron's essence, the endless hunger. Then he goes all the stuff as you burn in the flame of Brother's Wrath. The Titans, basically.
Yeah,
In
he's
no
making it
uncertain
very
ways.
clear. The Titans don't really care about you. You are just, you're just taking care until they come back. And when they come back, you're expendable. Almost a little bit like the God Emperor of mankind.
Exactly.
And his Thunder Warriors, right? Where it's like, oh yeah, Thunder Warriors, what do? Retook Earth. Does he need them anymore? No. Will he get them all slaughtered on purpose? Yes. Not saying the Titans are literally like the Emperor in 40k, but it's that thing of like all these people, they serve the Emperor and all of that. Yet when Goldman comes back, which he's back and he looks at his daddy and he's like, fucking hell. Daddy's a complicated man. And he doesn't actually care about us. There you go.
Exactly.
Warhammer. And to people who only know WoW and don't know Warhammer, I'm sorry. I probably just unexplained things for you.
Definitely. Anyway, so Xander says, how killing Murazond saving those Dormu? No, that's not Murazond. That is Chrono Lord Deus.
Yes.
We have killed him, and he is not... This is the point where Murazond was supposed to happen, but we stopped it. Which means Murazond is all happy and clear, etc. But then it goes, oh, well, we scuffed it, because now Iridicron is open the Void Gate. The Titans, all they wanted was our world. And now the Harbinger will pride from Gath with the StarCraft cover.
Also, I like our world.
Yeah.
He still includes us. He doesn't say my world.
Because he's talking to a dragon, like,
Yeah.
which is actually a good thing. So when the Titans come to replay claim their prize, I'll be waiting. So the whole big thing of, he says something about the timeline here. Yes, have you ever questioned why the Titans preserved this timeline? The Titans safeguard our world from monsters like you. And he's clearly talking about the timeline that...
The one true timeline.
the timeline where Iridicron doesn't get to do this.
And the timeline where, Murazond happens. And of course, Murazond not happening in this timeline is why he's doing this.
Yeah.
This is the thing. Timelines. Woo. Yes. So essentially, this one true timeline is not a true timeline. It is the Titans' desired outcome. and they therefore have been orchestrating things towards that outcome for a very long time. And then some people are like, I don't like your outcome. You don't care about me. I'm going to do what I want to do.
Yeah. So, and that's exactly it, where now Chromie has went, I have made a change in the intention. Murozond was supposed to happen. Murozond was supposed to happen by the Titans timeline. And now I have made that not happen because I made a choice, which quite literally has now endangered Azeroth because of all the stuff that we're about to
The
talk
point
about.
is, Aman'Thul is willing to do the great leap forward.
Yes.
Or whatever, number of commie 5 years plans that get, millions of people killed. Point being, the Titans have got their, overarching structured goal, and they will press on regardless of the real human cost. And for a lot of people, they'll be like, I cannot believe the Blizzard are reframing the Titans to not necessarily care about us. Meh. Wrath of the Lich King lore. Algalon. This has actually been part of the idea of Titans maybe not necessarily all good. That has been in the game for a long time. You know that bit where Algalon monologues about destroying billions of lives and countless civilizations? I just think it's worth remembering that every now and then, that if, let's just say a person like Alex Straza, you're like, hey, Alex Straza, do you know what? Alex Straza, do you know that they have a reset button over there? And she's going I do know there's a reset button, and I support using it if I fail.
Which is
what
actually,
does she think?
which is,
So that's why it's with so many, good villains, they actually, generally speaking, they have to have a point. Not that I want to bring up a Marvel movie because I genuinely don't care about any of them. But at least in the first Black Panther, people thought oh yeah, Killmonger, he's got a good point. He's a well-motivated villain.
Michael B. Jordan's a good ass
And he's
actor
a
too.
fucking good ass actor too, yeah, which helps.
Creed 3 was insane. It's a good director as well. But yeah, that's exactly it. Where Eridicron,
watch that.
yeah, it's pretty good. Very anime. It's quite literally.
Oh, let's
quite
go.
literally, because he just uses shots from Dragon Ball Z. But and a couple of shonen anime. But the whole point here of the timeline stuff we're talking about is Chromie changed it. No one has said this, but she literally did it in front of us. And she did it because she made the personal choice to stop Murozond from happening, to save Nostormu. And that has worked out fine. However, it's still the wrong timeline. And probably someone should mention that. And that'll have disastrous consequences whenever the next expansion happens.
Yes.
Maybe the next patch, or the 10.3, but likely the next expansion. So I think that's probably it for time at the minute, which is, they never said it, but they have actually kicked the Murozond can down the road.
So to go
They've
to
kicked the Infinite Tide can down the road.
Lord Mathis's super chat. Did you see Taliesin talking about Eridicron's dialogue hinting that our timeline is not the right timeline that the Titans want, and that we are the wrong timeline protecting the right one at our own peril?
Yep. Exactly.
I did not see that, but that
I didn't see it either, but
does
that
does pass muster.
Yeah, it's this line. Have you ever questioned whether the Titans prefer this timeline? And it's but the timeline, obviously it's this timeline, he kind of meant the timeline, the other one.
He means where our characters in Azeroth are, because from the perspective of this Eridicron, he's going on his mission to get, to fix our timeline away from what the Titans' path is.
Yeah.
So, yes, we absolutely have been protecting the true timeline at our own peril. The big question then is, what would that actually have looked like? So, canonically, we know, and I think Eridicron, it's either here or somebody else. Yeah. All they wanted was our world. The point is, Aman'Thul wants to go and wake Azeroth up.
As a Titan.
Now, here's the problem. What if you're standing on Azeroth's nose and Azeroth sneezes?
Well,
Okay, I'm kind of taking the piss.
Yeah.
But the point there is, what happens when a Titan wakes up? Because they're obviously not inherently good. What happens to all the life that's on top of that planet? Is it bad? Is it good?
now that's a really weird thing because you get into a weird metaphysical question there when it's what is a Titan? Because Azeroth is, if you look at Eyes of the Earth Mother, Azeroth is, the planet Azeroth is as an egg for Azeroth herself. But you look at Argus, and Argus finishing his manifestation didn't do anything to Argus. seemingly.
Well,
Like
the thing
Argus
is,
was fucked
he
up.
manifested
but-
in a small way. He didn't. That
Yeah.
That was not a full awakening of a physical titan. Because a
Yeah.
full awakening of a physical titan is a being that is like the size of a planet. Because we see that.
But also they
we see
can-
the image of Sargeras just
Yeah.
cleaving a planet.
But
in two.
also, it's all really weird and metaphysical because they can be whatever size they need to be for the story, which is kind of awkward because you go to the question, and I think I'm talking about this more from the perspective of what the writers have to do or want to do. There's no evidence that we're aware of that Azeroth waking up will destroy Azeroth. No one has ever suggested that. No one has ever suggested Azeroth waking up is she's inside an egg and she's going to go BAM! And the bits of plan are going to go flying over the cosmos.
Well, I guess-
no one's implied that or said that.
So there could be.
So
some
I
of
don't want
that.
to operate on that assumption here.
There could
but
be like if Azeroth is no longer in Azeroth, then well, all that good juice that keeps the place going will be gone.
theoretically, we'd then be left to rot because she then fucks off.
Yeah,
But then there's also nothing to say that they don't like sustain it in some way. Outside of the fact that none of the other Titans seem to have home planets.
And it
so
wouldn't
there's
have-
a really
yeah,
loose implication. But
yeah, well, that's the thing, right? So these Titans are like near supreme, extremely powerful beings. Obviously, they all got at the battle at Nihilum or Nihilum, whatever. That TBC rating guild. They all got, or I think they were in Vanilla as well. Anyway, the Titans all get like fuck destroyed. But the thing is, we know that Azeroth's basically the last bastion of life in the universe.
More or less,
that's
yes.
been said, like Star Augur, Atreus, and shit. Yes. So that kind of means that the Titans, for whatever reason, were not able to defend their home planets. Now, does that imply that those home planets no longer exist? Or does that imply that those home planets did exist, but then when the Titans were destroyed at the Battle of Nihilum and sort of turned into little floaty soul things, does that then imply that those planets fell to the Legion because they weren't as strong as us? Because we're just so sexy and cool.
that'll be our.
So it's hard to say.
Yeah, that's the awkward part, but ultimately it is the point where she's supposed to be like, even regardless if it means the planet's destruction, we are secondary. Their ultimate
Yeah.
goal is just Azeroth. They don't give a shit about us. And they never have.
Maybe
in
they're not
any
even
way.
capable of. See, the thing that would almost be a little bit more spooky is they may actually be fully incapable of giving a shit entirely.
Well, why would they?
Yeah, 'cause
Literally, why would they?
They're just following their plan. It's like, they're running their operating system. It's like the movie Axe Machina, where you're like, who really knows what's going on in the machine brain?
It's not even just that. It's like, why would a Titan, why would we give a shit about the lives of ants?
Yeah.
Like, we swat flies.
It's
How is
why I
how is it any different?
What I
Like,
always like is the inciting incident of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, where, Earth is destroyed to make room for basically a motorway.
yeah.
Now, okay, does that make any sense? No. It's obviously Douglas Adams being a funny fucker. But it's the point being, like, yeah, the galactic community is like, well, we posted a notice up in Barnard's Star that, like, this place was scheduled for demolition for this highway. It's your fault. It's only a few light years away. Why didn't you check your local planning office? Sorry, your planet's been scheduled for destruction. And that's like a good example of the, like, these things can happen at a... Thinking even about the things that to us are magic, or like how people who are not technically oriented sometimes engage in computers. I remember Darrow Breen, the comedian, when I saw him in Derry. It was great because he was so animated, half screaming, full of sweat, and it was just about there's something magical in the walls. Because the idea, we plug things into the wall and then they work. What's going on behind the walls? What sort of magic have they hidden in there?
Yeah.
So it's like, man, there could be shit out there that we just have no idea. We have no idea about, and yeah, it's not like, I just think the ants thing is the best.
Yeah,
It's the perfect analogy.
clearly like that's 100% how it's supposed to be, and that's even being like thematically reverberated across different parts of like this story so far, where you go to Notharian and the Drac there. Notharian acted like a Titan. He went, these people serve my purpose, nothing else.
Yeah.
Free will? No, don't give them that. They need to be just soldiers. Just like the Earthen. Just like the Iron Vrykul. Literally unfeeling, unexisting. It's just dudes like...
So
it's
actually,
just things to solve us.
we
That's
have
all.
another super chat from Lord Mathis, thank you, who said, imagine the triggering event for Morozond is finding out that we are the wrong timeline. Wouldn't the Titan's best way to protect our timeline they want be to show him protecting his own timeline as the big bad guy? So that's what's fun. Morazon, some of Morazon's like last lines when he canonically dies in the end time is like, you know, he's like, Amanthul, what I have seen.
Yeah.
Does that perhaps imply that what he saw was some great betrayal? Because it kind of says, well, okay, imagine this, right?
Maybe.
Imagine this. Nosdormu is shown his own death. And that's basically to say, and the point was to show him his own death in a way to say, this is how you're going to go. There's no way you can get around this whatsoever. It's impossible. It is written in the the fabric of creation that this is when you pop your clogs, big man. And then that makes Nosdormu depressed. Now, then it's like, what happens if Nosdormu is able to peek around this thing, you know, peek around the big fucking blocker that the Titans put in his vision and maybe see what their true plan was? Because again, like, he basically says, oh yeah, all this void shit, this is preferable to what I've seen. And now, okay, in the case of Shadowbringers, it is a light thing. You know, Titans are bright and happy. But like, you look at the bits of the bits in Shadowbringers where it's like, ah yes, this place has been blasted clean by the light and is dead. It's like basically in Shadowbringers, like most of the world is like the Ember Ward. I don't know if that's a perfect analogy, but you know, it's the idea of like too much light bad. So I wonder what the universe under you know, total big Titan is. I mean, think about
we literally know. Yeah. It's a load of stone people and iron people.
There you go.
Who don't have free will. It's the Titans going around going, well, what do we do? Make more Titans. Why? Because Titan's good. That's it. It's ordered. It's perfectly ordered. It is pointless. It is soulless. It is static.
And
that's the point. Which is the
Nosdormu realizes that the whole thing about his own death was to rob him of any form of free will by confusing him and lying to him.
Well, it doesn't even matter if what the intent is. It's literally, that's the point, is they're like, fuck you, do what we say. And they will go to any lengths, as evidenced by Odin. They'll go to any lengths to make sure we don't wise up to what's going on. It's full on, just, yeah, we're gonna, like, do what we do and fuck you.
Yeah.
That's the entire, like, motive. It's just that the whole thing is the dragons are naive to this because they were basically raised by them and told they were good guys.
So imagine if we called cowboys horse binders. That would be like, you know, that would feel a lot more like, ah, yes, these horses are our slaves. And are the life binder. Again, binder. You think about Urel and the light bound orcs. It's obviously not particularly a good thing.